As I mentioned in my video yesterday, in order to cut down on some time and make that video a little shorter for you all, I was going to split up all the content that I had missed during my time that I was out of town last week into 2 separate videos. And honestly, it's been the one that I was most excited to make. Primarily because you all know by now I am a huge cosmetic sucker when it comes to Anthem. I love everything about their cosmetic system, from all the armor sets, to the materials, to the wear state, to the paint jobs, the vinyls, you name it, I love it. And that's primarily because a lot of the armor sets that we have right now have started breaking the mold as we got further and further along into Anthem. Well, courtesy of Christian Daly, Anthem's game director and BioWare Austin's studio lead, over on Twitter, we have some special looks at some new armor sets that either didn't make it into the game in vanilla, and quite possibly stuff we will be seeing in the future with Anthem 2.0. Also, we have a cool look into one of the Pirates of Bloodwind's weapons, and lastly, with the Cataclysm celebrating its 1-year anniversary last week, Christian was sharing some pictures over on Twitter of some art studies they did on the Cataclysm very early on in development that, I thought I'd share with you all, because they are some of my favorite pieces of Anthem artwork to this day. But without further ado, let's go on ahead and get into it. Now first up, we have this Storm armor set that we only have pretty much from the collarbone up for. This picture was very briefly Christian Daly's profile picture over on Twitter for a couple hours a few weeks ago, and had it not been for one of you all stalking his page 24/7 for any small little change, I would have missed this, so kudos to you all for being dev stalkers. Yeah, I realize how that sounds. Anyways, it looks like it's very much so inspired by the Pirates of Bloodwind, and admittedly it reminds me a little bit of the Batman Who Always Smiles. Now I'm never going to be able to look at this armor set again without thinking, wow, that's the Storm armor set that always smiles. But anyways, there's not too much to discuss with that guy, so moving on, let's take a look at what I like to call the Shark losses. Of the 1600 hours I have on Anthem, maybe, and I mean maybe at most, I've got 10 or 15 hours of Colossus playtime in. That being said, if I had this armor set, I'll admit I probably would play the Colossus just a little bit more. Obviously, this armor set is based off of, well, a shark, and I really appreciate the color scheme, and especially the little details on it, such as the shark jaws on the shoulder and upper arm, and on the knees as well. Plus, the base color scheme I can get behind. Personally, I would pick number 1 over number 2, but what about you guys? What would you pick if you had to decide between the 2 armor sets? There's also an alternative color pass-through. It looks alright, but again, number 1 is my pick. Moving on, one of my earliest questions when it came to the Pirates of Bloodwind when they were first revealed was, how are these guys supposed to be taming wyverns and ursics when we can't even do it? Us, the freelancers who suit up in our javelins and go toe-to-toe with these things every day. How on earth could you capture one without a javelin exosuit? Well, evidently the BioWare dev team is 2 steps ahead of me, as we have a first look at the Wyvern crossbow, or the Wyvern turret, whatever you want to call it. Also, because I know this is going to pop up in the comment section because this happens every time that I say Wyvern, we're going to clear this up right now. Different regions have different ways of saying Wyvern, or Wavern, or whatever you want to call it. Hell, even on the Anthem game team they say it a bunch of different ways, and in game, Halleck, Faye, Owen, Sev, even our freelancer characters pronounce it a bunch of different ways. So there's no correct way to say Wyvern, Wavern, Wyvern, whatever you want to call it. Cool, gravy, awesome, neat, moving on. I'm just going to quickly breeze through these Cataclysm images with you all, because again, I think they look pretty damn neat. Our first one is of the Cataclysm Beach, where this looks kind of like where you would go down to get the Grabbit King ears. Now obviously in the final form, there's that huge rock formation there and it's a bit on a plateau. There's the Cypher statue, etc. Next up we have an art study of what I believe would be Vara's spawning point. Our third image is pretty much more or less of the same thing, only this time around a bunch of Shaper Snakes are coming out of this gorgeous, glowing, I don't know what you want to call that. This next one appears to be the Crucible of Astrid. Now of course I could be totally wrong, but at least at first glance, this looks more or less like Astrid's location, before the whole lava and the energy key vault. Now I don't know where this 5th area could be, but regardless, it's a pretty damn cool piece of art. But anyways, that's everything that I've missed while I was gone last week. We are finally all caught up. Starting a little later on in this week, maybe tomorrow, I'm not 100% sure, we're going to start diving into what we may have missed so far about Anthem 2.0's development. For example, the gearing system, because I've got some sneaking suspicions about it, and a few things here and there. Though, of course, everything will be based on what we already know and things that we can reasonably infer, based on what BioWare has told us so far. But what do you all think about these armor sets, the Wyvern turrets, the Cataclysm, you name it? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, as I always read through all of them, and I will reply if there's conversational potential. And if you enjoyed this quick little video and want to know more about Anthem 2.0 as it develops and we get more things of substance, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it really does help me out and allows me to reach more freelancers just like you. I hope all of you fantastic freelancers have a phenomenal day as always, and remember, freelancers, we are strong alone, but we are so much stronger together.